Hello. It's your girl, Anna Mascara, coming at you once again, sleep deprived but imaginative. Now, the question we all really need to ask ourselves is that whiskey or apple juice? Kinda looks a little bit like pee, doesn't it? We'll never know. Today we are gonna have a little chit chat in my bathroom because I thought what more suitable a place to film a when your mental health sucks video other than my go-to place when I am low-key having a mental breakdown. So before we begin, typical disclaimer, although I did study clinical psychology, I decided not to pursue it professionally. If you are the type of person that easily gets offended when other people shares their knowledge, opinion, or personal experiences in the hopes of helping other people, then homeboy, check this shit out. Oh my god, nothing is tying me to the desk? I don't have to listen to this? Whoa.
I know what you're saying, cute comic, but he's got an attitude. So fuck you.
For those of you that stuck around, here's how we're gonna do this. Overthinking, anxiety, depression, self-harm, and self-hatred. These are the topics I would like to touch upon. The message I want to put out there is always a way. If the traditional advice does not work for you, it does not mean it's over. It does not mean that there's no way of coping, no way out, and no other solution. Starting with my personal favorite, overthinking, and what keeps Granny Anna up at night. When your thoughts just don't shut up, what do you do? If you find yourself in a similar situation, what is recommended you do is to get up and write down on a piece of paper everything that is over there in the hopes that it will have a sort of cathartic effect and you will let all of that out and then your mind is blank. I mean, I tried it a few times, never worked for me. Oftentimes I find it actually made it worse because you need to turn on the light to write down. And once you do that, you're kind of awake. So the two things that I found work a lot better, but hey, might not be scientifically backed up. Number one is listening to very loud music to try to drown those thoughts. And I listen to Cradle of Filth because what else are you gonna listen to when someone needs to be yelling and it shouldn't be you, it should be Danny. So I listen to music until I am so tired that I eventually fall asleep. The second thing that's helping me out a lot is the restart button. No lights are being turned on here. I just get up, go to the washroom, put some water on my face, warm water because cold water, again, it just wakes you up and that's not what we want. And then I feel like I'm going to sleep all over again with a fresh start. Moving on to anxiety. One of the oh so cool things about freaking out in public is that feeling that you are going to faint when everything becomes like in a dream, in a bubble. You get the tunnel vision and you are just telling yourself over and over again, don't faint, which in turn makes you, stop breathing. That kind of leads to you maybe fainting. So, not the best approach. The exercise you are supposed to do in this situation is the 3 feels or the 5 feels, namely you go through all your senses and you identify 3 things you smell, 3 things you feel, 3 things you hear, and 3 things you see. But bottom line, when you're freaking out and not breathing, putting all that energy and focus, it doesn't work. Now, a great and beautiful thing this idiot used to do is to ground myself and to just snap back to reality. Whoop. There goes rabbit. Is I would take my nails and dig them into the palm of my hands as hard as I could. That kind of sounds like self-mutilation, Anna, doesn't it? You're wrong. It is self-mutilation. So I stopped doing it. What I do instead is I pump my body and my brain up with a little dose of endorphins caused by laughter. So that is why I have so many comedy shows and skits on my iPhone, and they are on speed dial like your drug dealer should be. if you don't have that, I just end up telling myself jokes. Most of the time they're dad jokes and unfunny, but for some reason my sense of humor is all over the place, so they always work for me. Yo, Anna, what do you call an acid with attitude? I don't know. What? Can't you see I'm losing my shit here? Okay. You call it amino acid. Get it? Oh, for the love of... That is pretty funny though. Girl! A little sneak peek of what goes on in this mind on a daily basis. Whenever you're ready, let's talk about depression. And yes, I am referring to clinical, diagnosed depression. However, if the tips and exercises I will be sharing with you work for the, extreme, or dare I say, the worst of the worst, of course, in my opinion anyway, you can use them for milder forms or for just, sometimes you're sad for 3 weeks straight. Here's the thing about depression. It paralyzes you and you feel helpless above all things. You feel like you can't get out of bed. You can't even do the dishes, make your bed. I believe, and in my observations with patients, if you want to tackle depression, you need to address that feeling of helplessness. The two things that are often told to people that find themselves in this situation is, number one, be kind with yourself. Be understanding. Do you know what goes on in the head of someone with depression? Be kind? I mean, to me, that's the stupidest shit I've ever heard. Because, sorry to break it to you, but there's no trace of any kindness in there when you're feeling like that. Another gem is take it slow, take an off day, don't do anything, just pamper yourself and whatnot. I mean, don't get me wrong. Both of these, to some degree, come from a good place and they can help, okay? For certain people, it does help. But think about it. When you can't even stand up, how do you want someone to open the blinds, run a bath? Remember, depression paralyzes someone, meaning taking an action, even a minor action, is like asking for to move mountains. What has worked for me, and I have shared this in a number of videos, it's very hard to explain, kind of hard to master, but with practice, it is what saves me every single time. And that is, I do not listen to my thoughts, because I feel like it's the thoughts that keep me from acting. I kind of just order my body around to get up and to do things and go to work and smile and talk to people, even if my thoughts are black and white. And at the end of the day, what this does is it shows me that there is a third party in all of us that has control both over our body and our mind. You can call it whatever you want. Spirit, soul, God, whatever floats your boat. But it is in each and every one of us. Once you take this third eye, this outsider's perspective, and take power over your body and your mind, even if it means sometimes not listening to one of them, that's going to change your life significantly. Mind you, it is not the ultimate solution. And it is not, I mean, it's sustainable, but I highly recommend you always go to the cause of it. Go deeper. Seek professional help. Don't just rely on simple positivity, sweep under the rug, quick fixes. Okay? But that goes for everything. Before we move on, I want to give you a second for you to decide whether or not you want to hear about this topic. We are going to be talking about self-harm and self-mutilation. So if you're not comfortable with those subjects, please click away, because my intent is not at all to trigger or to harm anyone with what I'm about to say. The reason why I want to talk about this is because, number one, suicide ideation, suicidality, and self-mutilation are what I specialized in when I studied psychology, and it was what I wanted to go into. So I feel like I had a lot of experience exposure, a lot of experience with these types of cases. And I'm not going to say the second part because by now you probably assumed why I want to talk about it. From my personal observations and research, obviously, there are 3 underlying reasons why people decide to hurt themselves. The first one is to feel anything, really. The second reason is a cry for help. They feel stuck and voiceless, and it's a way to indirectly get some sort of hand to pull them out of the hole they found themselves in. And the other reason is to externalize the wave of pain they are feeling, to take it out because they can't hold it in anymore. Whatever the reasons may be, I feel like oftentimes when people find themselves in such situations, they are asked to take a walk, clear their mind, rejuggle their thoughts. But I think that this advice does not take into account the process that people go through when they are in crisis. There is oftentimes a giant volcano of pain and suffering that is ready to explode, and it's at that limit. And when you are so close to just freaking losing it, the next thing is your hands. I don't wish this upon my worst enemies, trust me. But if you've ever seen someone, or if you yourself have been in this situation, I don't know what other word to use for it, you probably would have observed that the next thing is the hands frantically looking for something, and then the act itself. Now, when you tell someone to calm down and think this through, put on a coat and go for a walk, you haven't really addressed the fact that all that pent-up anger needs to first come out, because you can't really think straight when all that shit's going on in there, can you? So what I observed helped more is to occupy your hands. Always make it a habit to grab onto something when you feel like you're reaching that limit that you want to reach for something. If you find yourself in the bathroom, grab your sink and just tell yourself, don't let go, don't let go. Squeeze it as tight as you fucking want to. Just don't let go until the emotion calms down, until the wave goes away. I promise you, if you give it a few seconds, it will go down. Give yourself that time for it to go down. Grab something, an inanimate object, not someone else's throat. We're not about that, okay? If you want to designate, I'm sorry, a tutu or a teddy bear or something to just grab onto when you feel that rush of emotions, do it. Sink your nails as deep into that ish as you possibly desire, and let that burst and that bubble go out in a non-harmful way. Once that wave has passed, then by all means follow the advice to, recenter your thoughts, to go for a walk, to take a deep breath, to call someone. Acknowledge that those emotions cannot flip of a switch be turned off. And finally, let's talk a little bit about self-hatred, because I feel like this is one of the root causes of everything we just went through, and I thought it would be a nice closure to this video. In my personal opinion, I believe that self-hatred is because of our fear and our denial and our suppression of negativity, of evil, of bad behavior, of unconventional behavior, unpopular opinions, and this is all surrounding us. It's everywhere. You failed a class, you're a bad student. You're done. You failed at a relationship, you will never find love again. You fucked up. You're dead. You have an unpopular opinion, don't say it. Shut up. Say this instead. Don't use these words. Use those words. And if you are one of those people that has in their vocabulary the word offended, do everyone a favor, especially me, and get the fuck off my channel, because when you use the word offended, what it does is it stops the conversation. It makes the other people identify as a bad person. It breaks connection. It removes all opportunity for argument, for discussion, for growth, for understanding, and from just evolving, okay? Instead, yes, you can 100% say what you said right now really hurt me because I experienced something like this in the past. It gives the other person a chance to say, I'm really sorry. Now I understand better why this was hurtful. I personally believe that controversial and taboo topics should be allowed to be discussed, especially in, okay, call it safe spaces. For example, if it's just you and your friend, or in my ideal world, in universities, you know, where knowledge is supposed to, not indoctrination. I swear to God, I shared an unpopular opinion once in a class and I got crucified for it. And I don't think it's right. I think that we all have good and evil. I think that we're all on some level devils, demons, 50 Shades of Grey, and we all have biases. We all have prejudgments and misconceptions and opinions. If we are, number one, not allowed to express them in a safe and healthy and understanding way, so we can really go to the root of what they are and understand them better, know what triggers them, know how to cope with them, know how to deal with them. And if we, on top of that, get vilified for having those thoughts, those beliefs, for wanting to do things that are outside of the norm or not what, you know, society wants us to think, that makes us feel like bad people. That makes us feel like shit. And that's how we hate ourselves, because we think that there are things inside us that are bad and we identify with those things. But if we just were more kind and listened to each other, I feel like it would reduce self-hatred. I feel like it would also solve a lot of problems that we are being faced with today. Loneliness and lack of trust towards other human beings. In my house, you can say whatever the fuck you want, as long as you are respectful and as long as you are ready to have a civilized debate and to understand each other's points, even if they are completely different from one another. But that is just my 2 cents. So, for everyone that made it till the end of this video, thank you so much for watching. It took a lot of balls to film this. I don't know how you're gonna respond, but I felt that with everything that's happening right now, I'm just waiting for the aliens to come or just cue the zombies. Bam! I felt like talking about this was necessary because trying to binge film how to study for online classes and this is how I clean my house is not gonna hide the problems forever. We have a lot of time on our hands now, and I hope that this video serves as support, as a wake-up call, as a hand that I reach out to you, share your story, share your tips, share your advice, and let's all try to connect. Thank you for watching, guys. Please subscribe to my channel if you found this helpful. Give it a thumbs up, and if you want to see more videos like this, harder to make, but I feel like they have more of an impact, give this video a thumbs up so I know, and I will see you in my next film. Bye bye.